This evening, first, a child's death still in question. Police ruled 11-year-old Adriana Younge's death a drowning, but her family isn't convinced, flying her body overseas for a second autopsy. Why they say the full truth still hasn't surfaced. Plus, election countdown sparks confusion. GECOM says it's ready, but not everyone agrees. We break down the behind-the-scenes timeline debate surrounding the September 1st elections and what it means for voters. Also, terror plot twist. A minibus driver is behind bars, charged with aiding a terror plot that rocked Georgetown, but the alleged mastermind still on the run and possibly hiding in plain sight. Meanwhile, teen tragedy on the road. A 17-year-old student struck and killed on the Essequibo Coast. What we know about the crash and the growing concerns over road safety. Finally, AI and human rights collision course. As artificial intelligence evolves faster than the law that governs it, world experts meet in Doha to sound the alarm on surveillance, bias, and our digital future. Stay tuned. These stories and more tonight on Headline News Update. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for May 28, 2025. I am Baby Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, the Ghana Police Force announced on Tuesday that the death of 11-year-old Adriana Younge has been ruled a drowning with no evidence of foul play. The official post-mortem report, prepared by 3 international pathologists, concluded that her death was consistent with drowning and showed no signs of trauma, assault, or other criminal activity. Adriana's body was discovered in the pool of the Doubleday International Hotel on April 24, 2025. The findings also aligned with an earlier report from retired Royal Canadian Mounted Police investigator Leonard McCoshin, which found no evidence of foul play by any person. Despite these findings, Adriana's family remains skeptical about the drowning conclusion and has flown her body to the United States for a second autopsy. A date for the autopsy has not yet been announced. The family had expressed doubt from the beginning regarding the initial cause of death. The police reported that a comprehensive investigation was conducted, including toxicology and DNA tests, and found no signs of acute injury, trauma, sexual assault, or struggle. They added that changes to the body were consistent with prolonged submersion and natural decomposition. The case file is being prepared for submission to the Director of Public Prosecutions for review. The Ghana Police Force expressed condolences to the Young family and emphasized its commitment to transparency and justice. Nevertheless, the family has expressed distrust in the Ghana Police Force since, in the initial stage of the child going missing, they tried to mislead the family with incorrect information that the child had left the location in a car. Moving on, the Ghana Elections Commission, GECOM, has issued a statement clarifying the advice given to President Dr. Mohamed Irfaan Ali regarding the readiness to conduct general and regional elections on September 1st, 2025. This follows recent claims of unilateral advice by GECOM's chairman, Justice Retired Claudette Singh, which allegedly contradicted an earlier election work plan. According to GECOM's statement, on May 23rd, Chairman Singh was contacted by President Ali to assess GECOM's capacity to hold elections within a 3-month period. After consulting with Chief Elections Officer Vishnu Prasad, Singh advised the President that GECOM could meet the constitutional requirements to hold elections within 90 days. Prasad had already prepared a draft work plan anticipating elections within 3 months, which placed Election Day on August 25, 2025. Following the President's announcement on September 1st as the election's date, GECOM's 7-member commission met to discuss and consider a revised work plan that reflects this timeline. The updated plan, received more than 18 hours after the President's announcement, reduced the earlier timeline by 21 days. Government-nominated Election Commissioner Sesgon Raj stated the revised plan is in line with constitutional provisions and that GECOM would be ready to deliver the elections by the specified date. He emphasized that the 90-day period allowed under the Constitution was sufficient to prepare and execute the elections.
Generally, the spirit and letter of the Constitution provides for elections to be held within 90 days. And I believe the naming of the date by the president exceeds 90 days. So I have every confidence that it can be done and done effectively in that time.
Opposition-aligned commissioners, however, raised concerns that the expedited work plan would disrupt statutory timelines and processes.
Those changes have affected the timelines traditionally used for claims and objections, submission of the list of candidates, among other requirements, and even statutory deadlines, as in the instance of the time provided for appeals by parties in relation to the list of nominees.
They also argued that the advice given to the president was not collectively approved by the commission. Despite these concerns, Gunraj maintained that GECOM has long been preparing for the elections and the process will proceed as scheduled. He further assured that existing legal mechanisms would address concerns about the accuracy of the voters list. The general and regional elections in Guyana are constitutionally due this year, and GECOM's latest statement reinforces its readiness to conduct them on September 1st, as announced by the president. On a different note, 35-year-old Sion Carmichael, a minibus driver from Land of Canaan, East Bank Demerara, was remanded to prison after being charged with facilitating 2 terrorist acts related to recent explosions at the East Rhymefeld Police Outpost and the GPL substation in Georgetown when he appeared at the Georgetown Magistrates Court today. Carmichael, a father of 3, appeared before acting magistrate Faith Magusti, where he was not required to plead to the charges. Magistrate Magusti denied bail, citing the seriousness of the offense and the delay in reporting his involvement. The court heard that on May 17, 2025, 2 explosions rocked the East Rhymefeld Police Outpost and GPL substation along Mandela Avenue, Georgetown. The explosives were made of screws and bolts. Carmichael allegedly rented hotel rooms for the suspects, transported them to the targeted locations, and purchased items later used to create the explosive devices. One of the suspects is reportedly related to Carmichael by marriage. Carmichael claimed he was paid $20,000 for his role, but said he was unaware of the suspect's intent to carry out the bombings. Carmichael is scheduled to return to court on June 18. Meanwhile, police have issued wanted bulletins for the main suspects, 3 foreign nationals who are said to be Spanish-speaking individuals, 2 Venezuelans, and a Brazilian known only as Flavio Tassio. Authorities say CCTV footage and other evidence link them to the coordinated attacks. Stick around when we return. $11 billion Because We Care cash grant reaches thousands of families nationwide, and teen killed in Dartmouth road accident. Police investigating.
GECOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. If you have moved to a new address since you were registered, you are required to update your address by applying for a transfer to ensure your registration details are accurate. Visit the GECOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to apply for a transfer. You can apply to have your address updated during this national registration exercise. You can visit the GECOM registration offices Monday to Thursday from 8 to 12 hours and 13 to 16 hours 30, and Friday from 8 to 12 hours and 13 to 15 hours 30. The offices will be closed on weekends and holidays. This registration exercise will end on May 30, 2025. For more information, contact the GECOM on 225-0277-9 or visit www.gecom.org.gy.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Our smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services. 316 Middle Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road, Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. A tragic road accident claimed the life of 17-year-old Yuvraj Ram, a student of Anna Regina Multilateral Secondary School, on Tuesday afternoon along the Dartmouth Public Road, Essequibo Coast. Police said the incident occurred around 2:20 p.m. and involved a minibus bearing registration number BAC 597, driven by a 34-year-old man from Charity squatting area and a teenager who was a pedestrian. Preliminary investigations revealed that Ram had just disembarked from another minibus heading in the opposite direction and attempted to cross the road. He reportedly paused upon seeing the oncoming minibus before making a dash across, during which he was struck. The teenager was rendered unconscious and sustained head trauma. He was rushed by the driver to the Oscar Joseph Charity Public Hospital, where he succumbed to his injuries around 3:20 p.m. Ram, who resided at New Road, Essequibo Coast, was pronounced dead while receiving medical attention. His body is currently at the hospital's mortuary awaiting a post-mortem examination. The minibus driver is currently in police custody at the Charity police station as investigations continue. In other news, parents in Region 10 are expressing gratitude for the government's Because We Care cash grant, which provides financial relief for back-to-school expenses. The grant, totaling $55,000 per child, including a $5,000 uniform allowance, is helping families to cover the cost of school supplies. During Tuesday's distribution at the 1 Mile Primary School, parents said the funds were a huge help.
Hi, my name is Letitia Jones and I'm from here in Region 10. I have 2 kids attending the Wutukade Primary School. So the cash grant that I'm collecting today for my son and my daughter, I will put it to good use. I'm going to make sure they have their uniform in all sorts and whatever meals they would have to walk to school with, because everything else I will provide off of other funding so they can enjoy their school life with Because We Care cash grant.
Minister of Public Works Bishop One Edgehill oversaw the distribution, emphasizing the government's ongoing commitment to education. Over $54 million will be distributed to 1 Mile Primary School alone, with $11 billion expected to benefit 205,000 students countrywide this year. Minister Edgehill highlighted that this year's cash grant has increased to $50,000 per child, plus the uniform allowance, demonstrating the government's focus on education and support for families. Meanwhile, more than 14,000 students in Region 1 are set to benefit from the Because We Care cash grant as distribution begins this week. The initiative, aimed at reducing the financial burden on parents and supporting students' education, will see over $783 million distributed across that region. Minister of Housing and Water Colin Crowell, who is also the parliamentary representative for Region 1, supervised the rollout at Port Kaituma Primary and Canal Bank Primary in Matorkai sub-region. The grant is part of the government's ongoing investment in education and national development. Don't go away after the break. King Charles III delivers rare royal speech to candidates in Parliament, and the Panama Canal under threat. Water shortage causes costly delay.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Middle Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Good girl forget things.
What's the
problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, lot 238 South Road border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
GECOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by June 30, 2025 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. How to apply for registration? You must visit the GECOM registration office that is responsible for your area of residence to apply for registration or name change or correction. You must be in possession of the following source documents as might be relevant: original birth certificate or valid Guyana passport for new registration, original marriage certificate and original birth certificate in the case of a name change by marriage, original deed poll and original birth certificate in the case of a name change by deed poll, original naturalization certificate and original birth certificate or valid passport in the case of naturalization. This registration exercise will end on May 30, 2025. You need to apply for a transfer if you now live at another address since you were registered. For more information, contact the GECOM on 225-0277-9 or visit www.gecom.org.gy.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world. Suriname's opposition parties, led by the National Democratic Party, have signed a letter of intent to form a new coalition government, even as the official May 25 election results are pending. Vice President Ronnie Brunswick's party joined the pact, nominating Jennifer Garling Simmons as presidential candidate. The coalition, set to control 34 of 51 parliamentary seats, has pledged transparency, anti-corruption, and institutional reform as key priorities for the next 5 years. In Central America, Panama is facing increasing pressure to build more reservoirs to ensure there is enough water for both the smooth operation of the Panama Canal and for the population's drinking needs. Recurring droughts have disrupted traffic along the canal, one of the world's most crucial trade routes, causing long and expensive delays in the passage of vessels between the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. Al Jazeera's Lucy Newman reports.
An aquatic protest march down Panama's Indio River, carried out by farmers who live along part of the river basin that's due to be flooded for a new reservoir. We went to see the families that will be impacted for ourselves. 87-year-old Oligario Hernandez is one of the founders of this community.
All I have is a slingshot to defend myself. I have my house, my land, my animals, and I'm not leaving here unless God calls me to join him.
All this farmland will be turned into a giant reservoir needed to counter water shortages along the Panama Canal because of recurring droughts. At least 2,000 people live along the Rio Indio River, and the families here are very, very numerous. They say that even if the government offers them a lot of money, which it hasn't yet, that wouldn't be enough because what's at stake here is their way of life. Life here is peaceful, and while there are no luxuries, people say no one goes hungry. Yesenia del Carmen Castillo shows us the fruits and vegetables she grows to feed her family.
They say they'll relocate us, but to where? The land along the river basin is already owned, so it's a lie that we'll be able to live the same elsewhere.
The Panama Canal Authority is responsible for relocating and compensating those who will be displaced. Karina Vergara is in charge of coordinating and says the Canal Authority will buy other farmland in the area.
The international norm that we follow guarantees that if you have 5 hectares of land, you'll get 5 hectares. If you had a house, a new one will be built for you, and we will accompany and subsidize the process of re-establishing yourself.
Many still question the reservoir project altogether.
There's a better alternative, to pipe the water into Lake Gatun from the Bayano River.
But the canal authority says piping water from more than 100 kilometers away would displace even more people and cost a fortune. The plan is to convince the farmers that leaving where they've lived for 3 generations won't mean that they'll be worse off. But that would require overcoming their deep-rooted suspicion and distrust before all of this is covered by water. Lucia Newman, Al Jazeera, Rio Indio, Panama.
Britain's King Charles has given a throne speech in Canada to open the country's parliament. While the king is officially Canada's head of state, it's extremely rare for a British monarch to deliver that address. Al Jazeera's Bahdad Mahachi reports.
A historic ceremony steeped in symbolic weight and Canadian tradition. King Charles is in Canada to inaugurate its new parliament, becoming the first British monarch to do so in nearly half a century, this time against the backdrop of annexation threats from the United States. The King's visit is at the invite of Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, who's promised a wartime cabinet to combat those threats. His speech underscoring Canada's sovereignty.
Today, Canada faces another critical moment. Democracy, pluralism, the rule of law, self-determination and freedom are values which Canadians hold dear and ones which the government is determined to protect.
Canada is confronting increased American aggression and is trying to diversify its trade. King Charles says the nation is facing unprecedented times.
Yet this moment is also an incredible opportunity. An opportunity for Canada to embark on the largest transformation of its economy since the Second World War.
His speech made overt references to Donald Trump without explicitly naming him, a president that's threatened sweeping tariffs on a country dependent on exports to the U.S., and who suggested using economic coercion to force it to become a 51st state. For many, the visit was a welcomed rebuke.
This is something that the monarchy is employed to do at times. The weight of 1,000 years old institution push back against certain threats or bullies or whatever the case may be, and often that can have much more of an effect than a heated argument with another elected politician.
Canada is a place inherently different from its southern neighbor, a country founded by the British, French, and Indigenous peoples and run as a constitutional monarchy.
As the anthem reminds us, the true North is indeed strong and free.
A country, King Charles says, has found a renewed sense of national unity. Bahdad Mahachi, Al Jazeera.
Artificial intelligence is advancing rapidly across all sectors, but global laws lag behind. In Doha, experts and advocates are meeting to discuss AI's impact on human rights amid growing concerns over surveillance, bias, and misuse in the absence of regulations. Al Jazeera's Michael Apap.
Artificial intelligence is sweeping the world. Its implementation is ubiquitous, from your mobile voice assistant to algorithms that recommend music and television shows. AI has the potential to impact geopolitics, influence election results, and spread misinformation. We live in a world where AI can fill in the blanks without anyone knowing. And developers are competing for global dominance in a rapidly evolving space.
Every day we have a new invention, and that invention comes with big solutions, but comes with a lot of risks. And that's, for me, it is really worrying.
Generative AI creates brand new content by learning from existing data. It's turned into a copyright nightmare for the creative and media industries especially.
Their work is used to train AI without compensation. AI can generate the sorts of work that they're normally paid to generate. And in some cases, AI is used to mimic the style of specific creators at scale.
AI regulation has not kept pace with the explosive growth in the sector. But there's wide agreement that using AI ethically means building it ethically. The UN's Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights says it's working to translate the existing voluntary human rights framework into the digital space.
We hope that that guidance can support states in making the right choices and at least move in the direction of protection of using AI and regulating AI in line with human rights law, and also to take away some of the maybe misconceptions that exist that there's simply no framework available.
Industry commentators and policymakers are grappling with preserving human dignity and ethics while pushing the boundaries of this AI revolution. Experts here warn that without universally accepted and implemented guardrails, that innovation in the artificial intelligence sector could far surpass people's ability to protect privacy, intellectual property, and could end up eroding human rights. Mike Leppel, Al Jazeera, Doha.
This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-day forecast. And that's it, TV2 Headline News for this Wednesday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for a rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other.